Thank you guys for being here today. We are going to discuss the New England Public Golf Forum collaboration between Mass Golf and the National Links Trust. My name is Santana Shipley, and I'm the Community Operations Manager with the IAGA.
And I'm Mark Gagne, Senior Director of Member Services for Mass Golf.
And then, Mark, would you kind of just give us a brief outline of this initiative and just some background details behind it?
This concept of the New England Public Golf Forum is something that we've had in play for many years under the heading of the Mass Golf Club Leadership Forum. And in that, we tried to create some educational sessions for our member clubs where industry experts could be presented to them on various topics of the day, and also to create opportunities for networking as well. And ideally, with so much education going on in the space, ideally provide something to our member clubs that might be unique in that regard. We also wanted to be able to have that networking element as well, because so many of our clubs were interested in finding out what the club down the street or any other part of the state was doing. And these were great opportunities for clubs to be able to make those connections and continue the conversation as it relates to those types of things. But the forums that we had in the past were on topics such as membership growth and retainage back before COVID, when that was really an important thing. And we had some experts come in to speak to that. We had a course renovation session with architect Tyler Ray and Brad Klein at a Boston area private club. And then we had a series with club benchmarking on topics from things like fueling the capital engine to strategic club governance to navigating the financial impact of COVID. So a wide variety of topics. However, given the focus, the private clubs tended to gravitate to attend the forums. And perhaps the public access courses and facilities really didn't find much in connection there in the way of that education. So, given that our public access courses account for 60% of our member clubs and 50% of our individual members, with really some focused intention, we wanted to create opportunities for our public access courses to have a more impactful benefit from the forum concept. And this concept is certainly well aligned with our mission at Mass Golf of building an engaged and inclusive community around the sport. Prior to Mass Golf, I was in leadership roles at a Massachusetts private club for many years and had developed many relationships in the club and course management communities. A longtime friend and colleague had gone on to see the well-publicized renovation of the National Mall back a few years ago. And I was down visiting him, and it was through that relationship that I became aware of the National Links Trust. So as time went on, I came to understand the National Links Trust was conducting some education on their own down in the DC area in the form of a biannual symposium. So the last one they had, the last symposium anyway, was last year, and I happened to listen in on the podcast that they had published, and I thought they did a fantastic job with the symposium, highly engaging, great range of topics and speakers. So I reconnected with my friend, and he put me in touch with the leadership at NLT. We had a conversation and about their event and some of the things that we had in mind. And as coincidence would have it, they were very much thinking of taking their show on the road. And so it just kind of naturally seemed to be a great fit. And they had some connections as well to the New England area. So from there, we were off and running.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect dive into just Mass Golf, taking that initiative to create this partnership. And I kind of just want to ask, what value do you think that the National Links Trust involvement added to the forum?
Their team, Andrew Sunyog and Jeff Arnold, who myself and Jenna Walkowitz from our team worked with is on this particular project. They were fantastic to work with. They had obviously conducted symposiums like this before, so as we had done as well. So we both had that combined experience. But I think they also had a strong awareness and knowledge around public access facilities in particular, even though they specialize in municipal courses. But they had the awareness there and certainly contacts within the industry that kind of led to building the educational program that we put together. But yeah, they were very supportive from day one and very much involved. In fact, we had bi-weekly meetings, the four of us as a team, starting in January, right through the event in October.
This event bringing together such a diverse group of stakeholders, what kind of strategic considerations guided your efforts to engage in such a broad audience? And why was that inclusion essential to the forum?
Yeah, that's a great question. And part of that, we went into this partly with an idea or a vision of what we wanted, and I think that kind of evolved as time went on. And really, I was kind of pleasantly, well, more than pleasantly surprised. I was really pretty much blown away with the potential panelists that we reached out to who said yes almost instantaneously to participating, which was really encouraging and I think says a lot about their commitment to public golf and all that's happening in the community right now. But so I think that involvement from the panelists guided the direction that we went with it. But from the outset, the intent was to try to make this an opportunity for not only for seasoned professionals, golf professionals, superintendents, club managers, owners, and the like, but also we wanted to connect with those decision makers at municipal courses in the form of parks and rec departments or golf advisory committees or golf advisory boards, um, folks that may not have really, little exposure to the golf industry or none at all, and are in a position to be making, decisions on behalf of the golf facility in their city or town. So we really wanted to widen the scope of the program to be able to appeal to all those types of constituent groups. And then, of course, certainly our allied partners who participated in the event as well. And then our neighboring golf associations in New England.
Absolutely. And those are for sure, key components to the success of the forum. But I kind of just want to dive in a little bit more and ask, what other aspects of the forum do you think had the greatest impact on the success? And were there any key challenges that you kind of encountered during, from the start organization of the event to actually hosting it?
Sure. Well, I think as far as the greatest impact on success is concerned, this was certainly connecting with the community in a way that Mass Golf had not before. And I think one of the things that there was definitely a certain vibe to the day, and it very much was. You could kind of sense it as the day progressed, and that was a feeling of community and connection, and hopefully that the folks that met that day or started a conversation. This is just the beginning of what may come as they go through their journey and really find resources and colleagues to be able to consult with. It was interesting to learn how many municipal facilities are in some ways an island on their own and not so much connected to the golf community as much as perhaps a private club might be. So again, I think this was the start of hopefully some conversations to take place within the community. I think, as I referred to earlier, the panelists, they really made the event so easy, and they brought so many different perspectives and in such an insightful and professional manner. I know that from the number of questions that we had at the end of each panel, that can always be like pulling teeth. Well, I can't tell you, we would reserve time at the end of each session for questions, and we always ran over. So I think that kind of speaks to how engaged the attendees were. Yeah, and I'll relate to one story. At the end of the session, the owner of a 36-hole public facility in the Metro Boston area came up to me, and I had known this gentleman for many years. And for many years, Mass Golf had been attempting to strengthen the partnership with this particular club, with things like hosting events and youth on course and other programs and services we offer. And at the end of the session, he made a point to grab me and tell me how much he appreciated the event and how he had come to realize that Mass Golf really wants to support public golf and that it doesn't cater just to the high-end private clubs, which was kind of a surprising thing to hear that perception or paradigm was still out there. But I think it just goes to show that sometimes those paradigms can take more than a few years to shake. And but it was great to be able to hear that feedback from someone who had that perspective. As far as challenges go, I think we we developed a very ambitious program with over 30 panelists, and we had 3 general sessions and then 6 breakout sessions. So that's a lot to try to pull off, and it was a long day too, including breakfast and lunch and then a reception afterwards. So I think that was certainly a challenge, is to the logistics around coordinating that all in one day. I think certainly I did not, or I underestimated the time requirements in order to prepare and plan and make make this event happen. So I think anyone going into this in the future should definitely plan on dedicating some staff members, more than just one. I can tell you, in addition to Jen and I, we also pulled in a third member of our team, Jared, as we got closer to game day. So it really took a village to make this happen. And then I guess the last challenge would be recruiting attendees. We had done a lot of work in trying to identify all of the potential contacts at municipal courses, those folks that were on the advisory boards and the Parks and Rec departments, to ensure that we were able to connect with them as part of the promotion for the event. So there was a lot of work involved there. I think we had about 125 attendees all told. But a lot of work in recruiting and raising awareness. And people in our area may not necessarily have heard of NLT before. Some had not even heard of Mass Golf. So understanding who we are, what we're about, and what they would get out of that day's event, required a lot of effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say an event of this magnitude definitely is going to no doubt come with obstacles and, road bumps, but it's definitely awesome to just see such great feedback. And, like you said, people that might have not even known about Mass Golf now know about it, and just spreading the message and your mission. And I think that's definitely great to see. So I think, and kind of just moving over, do you see this forum potentially serving as a scalable model for other regions? And if so, what advice would you give to them if they were looking to host a similar event?
Sure, sure. Well, I know we're not alone in terms of associations wanting to dedicate more resources to their public member clubs. And I think an event like this would be a natural fit within a program designed to deepen engagement. I think it's something that I know that the National Links Trust has an interest in partnering with other associations on in the future, throughout the country. I certainly would recommend a more condensed and shorter event program, either that or maybe making it a 2-day event or something along those lines. And then of course, recognizing from the get-go the time and resources that'll be required to make it happen. But I think it's, in terms of our interest in the future, I can definitely see us wanting to continue the momentum of this year's success in the future. And perhaps we might do that in the form of a kind of a scaled down version on an annual or semi-annual basis, and then something more extensive on the off years.
And seeing, the potential reoccurrence of hosting an event like this in the future, do you have anything right now, just obviously coming off of such a successful forum, do you guys have any kind of roadmap for what you're looking to do next year specifically, or is that still kind of up in the air for how you want to continue the momentum from this?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it's still somewhat up in the air. As we put together our strategic plan initiatives for 2025, I think that's certainly on the radar. But yes, more to come on that.
And then obviously there were a lot of pieces to this puzzle. So I kind of just want to ask here, do you have any additional comments that you think would really highlight this forum in a light that we might have not covered, or just any additional information that you would like to include about the forum?
One of the other perhaps unexpected benefits that came out of this event is that uh, by by including our allied organizations, the superintendents, the golf professionals, the owners, and other various associations throughout New England, our partners at Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, is that it was a great opportunity to strengthen those relationships as well. And each one of those organizations participated in the form of either serving on one of the panels, or certainly helping us out with promoting the event and attending the event. So a real relationship strengthening opportunity there that we took advantage of. One of the sessions that we kicked off with was called the State of Public Golf in Massachusetts, and that panel featured the executive director of the New England PGA, the New England Golf Course Owners Association president, who's also a member of the National Golf Course Owners Board, the president of a management company who oversees 10 golf courses in Massachusetts, and as well as our executive director, Jesse Menachem. So that was I think a great way to kind of kick off the event, and spoke to the allied interest and cooperation. One of the events that we ended with that day was around golf course architecture trends in public golf. And we were fortunate enough to grab Brad Klein as the moderator for that session. Brad's been a great partner to work with over the years, and certainly very entertaining in this type of setting. But we had two golf course architects from that were local to the area, as well as Michael McCartan, from the co-founder of the National Links Trust, who also participated in that session. And then in between, we had topics ranging from things like technology and golf operations, where we had folks from our local Toro distributor, the Toro manufacturing company as well, NBC Sports Next and Golf Now, Club Car, and Chris Kallmeyer, co-CEO of Golf Genius. We're all there to talk about emerging technology and everything from AI to hybrid mowing equipment, and autonomous mowers. So that was pretty interesting. And then the range and scope. We visited player development as another session, led by Abby Liebenthal from For the Ladies, and we were fortunate to have Hugh Smith from Youth on Course come into town, and our local director of First Tee operations here in Massachusetts, and then a young lady who had started her own affiliate member club called Girls Gone Clubbing, to talk about the success of her idea and how it's really bloomed into a player development, a great example of player development. But from there, we went into sessions on the business case for sustainability, community engagement, fundraising, partnerships, capital improvements. We were able to tell the story of a particular club on Cape Cod, a municipal course that operated as a enterprise fund and had done an amazing job of raising funds to be able to renovate the 27-hole facility that they operate to the tune of like $6 million over the course of 4 or 5 years. Just a fantastic story to tell there of how to get the job done. In other words, so and then we had on the sponsorship side, we had some great support from our local Toro representative in the area, as well as Golf Genius and others that really helped make the event happen. So yeah, that really kind of speaks to, I think, the breadth and width of the education that we tried to address during the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, just to reiterate, I think this goes to show an initiative of this magnitude just creates so many possibilities. Going into it, you think you're going to do these things, and you end up doing way more because
Mhm.
you end up opening so many people's eyes and getting so much messaging out there, so much important messaging. So, I just want to thank you for, Mark, taking the time in Mass Golf, allowing us to highlight this initiative. Um, a, a great, successful event with no doubt a huge impact on the community. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Santana. It was my pleasure.
As a reminder, if your association would like to highlight a program or initiative, please reach out to me, Santana Shipley at shipley@iaga.org.